Hi, this is Sonic777 and welcome to my first tutorial on how to handle click bars with the new ISBoxer 35. I want to go ahead and just start off by saying that I'm assuming that you've set up your team running the new wizard since the latest update of build 35. If you haven't, you should go ahead and do it now. Let's go ahead and first take a look at what click bars are. When you run through the wizard, you'll get a broadcast click bar. Under the broadcast click bar, immediately you'll notice there's a global images. These are images that were already put in place when we ran through the wizard. I've added a couple more here, green light, red light, and empty, but the rest of them, they were already in place. When you click on buttons, you'll notice that we open up into a wider area where we have a middle column and then a right column. In the middle column, it shows us a layout of our button grid. The grid right now is set to 1 by 2 and the cells are 48 by 48. That means that they're 48 pixels high by 48 pixels wide. You can set these to anything you'd like. Also, you'll notice on the right, where we have the information for the buttons, it's grayed out, at least until we click on one. When we click on it, a lot of information fills in automatically. That's because it's already been set up. The first button I've clicked on here is set to maps. So, what it's talking about is activating our key maps under our control key map. Next you'll notice that we have the repeater button. It's got an image that's set for repeater off. If someone clicks on the button, it's going to activate the repeater in the control key maps and do it to the target itself. Now, what I'd like to do is break away from activate repeat. Activate repeat seems to be handling both the keyboard and the mouse. I'd like to go ahead and have separate keyboard and mouse controls. That's normally the way I run, and hopefully this is the way you'd like to run as well. We're going to copy activate repeat twice. We have to name them each accordingly. The first one will be keyboard repeat, the second one will be mouse repeat. I'm going to make that copy now and start to rename it. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and remove the hotkeys that are in here, because I won't want these to be the ones that I use. I normally use G keys, but you can make your own decision. As well, you'll be able to use the buttons visually once we're done. So you'll be able to click on them to make them do what you want them to do. To make this only handle keyboards, we want to go ahead and take care of the first part where we're actually turning them on. We don't want the mouse to be turned on by the keyboard repeat. We want to also change the text to indicate exactly what we're doing. I'm going to change that now. And we're going to leave this piece alone. When we come back, this button will have changed because we're going to change the name directly on the broadcast. Again, we only want the keyboard to be affected, so we're going to turn off mouse repeating. Then we're going to change this to indicate that the keyboard repeating is off. We're going to go down to mouse, and we're going to do the same thing, only this time we're going to turn off the keyboard repeat because we don't want that to be affected. We're going to change the text to indicate mouse repeating. And we're going to leave the broadcast click bar alone for the moment, but we will come back and change it. Making sure to change this, our text notifier, to mouse repeating off. As well, I turned off the key repeating in the first step. And of course, we're going to leave this. Let's go ahead and move down to the broadcast under click bars. We'll click on the buttons here. And the first step we want to do is go ahead and add in another button to the grid. we're just going to click up and we get a 3 here. That indicates that we've got 3 in a row now. It helps when you're going in and selecting these when you're handling controls. As I said earlier, I've loaded a couple of extra images that are part of the global. The green light and red light, I got those out of Xanther's upload that he posted on the forums there in ISBoxer. Thanks, Xanther. Really appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and start off with a red light, and that's going to indicate my mouse state is not repeating. For the moment, we're done, but I want to add an action. So I'm going to go ahead and left click, indicating that left click is the action I want to actually have happen. So here it indicates that left click is the action, and then I can click here on the selector area and I can choose to be current, which indicates single. Then I'm going to go ahead and select control for my key maps, and then mapped keys is going to be the mouse repeater. Once I've done that, I've linked it in and it's ready to go. I want to go ahead and change repeater to keyboard, because remember, I like to break things out, and this is going to help me out. I'm going to leave the image as such because it actually indicates repeating for the keyboard, and I'm going to make sure that my activate repeating is changed because I want to make it keyboard repeat only. Now that I've done that, I can move on, back up into the controls, and then down into the keyboard to verify that everything is set up properly. Remember, all I'm having to do now is verify that it picked up on the button change, and there you can see the image is on since we're turning everything on in that step. Secondly, the button change is a keyboard, repeating is off. Let's look at mouse. This one does have to change because it was a new one that we've set up, and it followed the other ones. So now we can see our unique name that we've created, mouse, and we've set that up. We can move on to the step 2, do the same thing, and we're done. Since I prefer to use my G keys, I'm going to set this hotkey to G1 because this is what I usually do when I'm playing. And then for mouse repeating, I'm going to set that to G2. Now all we have to do is save it and export. One last step I want to go ahead and do is I want to make sure that I'm not actually turning my click broadcast bars into the repeater icon. I want to make sure that it's a green light for the image. Remember, you can use colors as well. And a red light when we turn it off. Now I'm going to go ahead and save it, export it again. And we're done. Okay, so I think we're ready to take a look at how this is going to look in game. And as you can see, I've got my 5 screens up, my 5 accounts running, and I've got my buttons over here on the side. Move these buttons into a center location on the screen. It makes it a lot easier for me to see them. So I'm going to go ahead and use Shift Control Alt G, and that's going to bring my broadcast panel down. Then I'll be able to grab the blue bar, move it into place, click Sync, and then I can do a Control Shift Alt G again. They're locked in place. Now currently you can see that my key maps are off, my mouse or my keyboard repeating is off, and my mouse repeating is off. I can click that, turns it on, click that, turn it off. Keyboard's repeating is on, key maps are on. So as you can see, it's working as it's intended. I can do this also with my hotkeys I've assigned and still see the exact results I expected to see. Thanks for your time. I hope this helps out.